inviting me for Achievement Week. I'll give you a few random thoughts, so what I don't want to do is take up too much of your time, but let me give you some thoughts that I think may help us focus on the road ahead, because we really do need to focus on the road ahead. If I can paraphrase Brother Vassilis Brian Long, it's really about doing something for our neighbors in our community. That's what the idea of Omega is. And it certainly is what the ideals of Omega are. Omega still calls to us, and it compels us to act. It calls to us because the men who founded this organization did not need a social club. Ernest Everett, just as you just heard, was a world-renowned psychologist. He was a cell scientist at Howard University, the only American, by the way, invited to the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute in pre-World War II Germany, the only American. And when the war broke out, he was trapped there. But he saw what Omega could be, and with 3 undergrads sought to establish an organization of high ideals and high principles. They weren't trying to find a place to go and have a beer. That's not who these men were. And this is why Omega is the first African American fraternity founded on an African American campus. These were men who realized that the world was in trouble, our neighborhoods were in trouble, and men of goodwill, of high aspirations and high achievement had to step in and do something about it. And so this is what has led to where we are today. One of the many hallmarks, one of the many distinguishing features of Omega is our brotherhood, our friendship. I would argue in some instances friendship is superior to family, because friendship is a choice. Family is compelled. You're born into it whether you like it or not. Sometimes you don't like it, and if you have any doubt about that, wait until Thanksgiving. On Thursday, you're going to say, I can't believe it. I can't believe I got to go over there again. Friendship is a choice. You decide whether or not someone will be your friend, and you decide what kind of friend you're going to be to them, and they decide what kind of friend they're going to be to you. And I define friendship this way. It's the people who come see about you when it matters. There's some family members who will wait until you die to collect what they think is theirs. But there are some friends who will come to sit with you in that process to make sure you're okay. They don't sit and wait for you to stumble and fall. They come to lift you up. They come to make sure your way is a little easier. That's what I love about Omega Psi Phi. We are friends, real brotherhood. We don't ask the unreasonable of other brothers. And we always, always try to help other brothers to the extent we're able, so that we become collective achievers. It's authentic and it's genuine. And that's why I'm happy to be here. I'm also happy to be here to listen to these bright young brothers and sisters from the Charles H. Flowers High School Jazz Ensemble. If you haven't heard of it, they really should be recorded on record. They're that good. Better than some of the junk that we hear over the airwaves today. And, of course, the Surrattsville High School Choir, whom we just heard. The founders intended that we be men of action in the community. That was the purpose of Omega, and you needn't take my word for it. Let me share with you, there are often debates, as you can imagine, about what founders of a particular organization intended by one thing or another and meant by a certain thing. Some enterprising brother, I'm sure, following the debate, actually wrote to one of the founders and asked the founder about the cardinal principles. I'm sure there was a debate in some meeting or elsewhere about what they all meant. And one of the founders, Dr. Oscar J. Cooper, wrote back. Let me share with you what he said, November of 1962. Dear Brother Jason, in answer to your inquiry with reference to the 4 cardinal principles of Omega, let me say that the words were not drawn out of our hat or selected by some haphazard method. To finally decide on the 4 principles required much thought and time to find the words to characterize and encompass just what we had in mind. This done, we continually sought to find any other words to supplant the 4 words with no success. Therefore, we decided upon the 4 words, but not just the 4 words, for they were selected in chronological order and in order of their importance, and the sequence followed in that order. We felt that manhood was primarily the quality to be first sought as a basis for all other qualifications, without which the other principles would have no foundation for their existence. We felt that with manhood, the next important requirement is scholarship, which is the key to the kind of men we should have to build a strong and virile organization, especially since it is a college organization. With these 2 qualifications well developed, it is necessary to develop a certain amount of forthrightness, ambition, and stick-to-itiveness. For the perfection of any accomplishment requires perseverance, and this should follow as an outgrowth of the first 2 cardinal principles when they are truly found to exist. With these 3 cardinal principles found to be present, we naturally develop a high spirit of altruism and uplift, devoid of any selfishness, and with a natural spirit and tendency to be of service to others. In proportion as we have developed the 3 previous principles and should make ourselves felt as an entity in any community in which we exist. For strong characters and ambitions are developed not just to ingratiate the ones exemplifying them, but should naturally spread beyond the narrow confines of the person or the organization represented by the person. We felt, therefore, that these 4 cardinal principles, following in their order, and once found to exist, we have established a wonderful trend which would not be superseded or supplanted, and we have encompassed the essence of life. That's the level of thought that went into Omega Psi Phi. That is what we must adhere to today. And here's why. I would suggest to you that the key issue for us, for our community, is violence. It is the key issue. Do you doubt it? Ask yourselves, what informs your decision to go any place at night? What informs your decision to park in a particular lot or an open space? What informs your decision to move to a neighborhood or not, to park on a street, to go in the day or night, even when you do your Christmas shopping? You will make decisions informed by the threat level you perceive in that particular area. It is the issue for us.